The West Asia is a combustible region, right? There are many entities that would like to disturb the current world order. And you mentioned Turkey, but I would say that there are two main axes that are operating in West Asia. We're talking about the Shia axis that is very much has been very much weakened since the October 7 attack, and the Sunni axis that is emerging and is comprised by Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan. And the names of these countries and the identity of these countries are very obvious for both our nations. We know that they are undermining time and again the national security of our nations, and we are trying to see how we can collaborate to weaken this kind of new emerging axis.
Hi, welcome to Podcast with Pratim. I have with me Dr. Nina Slama, lecturer at Reichman University in Israel. She has been researching on India for many years. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Slama reminded me that we had a podcast last year at the same time. That was Holy Day. We recorded, and also next week is Holi, and there is a similar celebration, not exactly similar, but on the same day over in Israel. So, Dr. Slama, first and foremost is, you accorded so much importance to Prime Minister Modi's visit. The highest national award, and the newspapers have splashed with, with this kind of coverage. You often see. I remember when many, when say Clinton came to India after quite a gap of, the American president came to India, and that received huge media coverage. So my question is, clearly you are putting, and what is the most interesting part of the whole news was that whether it's opposition or the ruling party. Now one can understand about ruling party, right? But the opposition, you have a multi-party, very thriving multi-party democracy. So the other opposition has also joined in chorus and in welcoming Prime Minister Modi. So my question to you is, why India or Modi is so important to Israel?
Yes, thank you, sir. So, first of all, the relations of both India and Israel are strategic and are based on mutual understanding, respect, and collaboration and maturity. And I think that both countries have common challenges and opportunities when it comes to various areas such as security, defense, agriculture, water management, cybersecurity, and so on. So this sense of friendship is present in Israel, not only political arena, but also in all the hearts of many Jews and Israelis, not only in Israel, but also in the world. Jews were never persecuted in India. On the contrary, India opened its doors about 2000 years ago when Jews were persecuted around the world and welcomed them in a way that showed respect and a understanding that the Jewish community can be an important part of Indian society. And indeed, there are many Jews that not only developed India, but became an integral part of Indian society. Today, we are talking, of course, about crucial interests that both nations share. The leadership and the close friendship between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is very is very remarkable, and it allows both countries not only to enhance their government-to-government relations, but also the business to business relations and also the people to people relations. We see that this kind of friendship that is, of course, an important part and an important principle in the India's culture, uh, bring both countries together in order to seek for ways and um, solutions and to how and seek for ways to understand how to extend and enlarge the current um, strategic relations. So the leadership of Prime Minister Modi ji, not only South Asia but in the entire world, is giving Israel a lot of inspiration, a lot of strength, and a great sense that we have the largest democracy in the world standing side by side with the Jewish state in very challenging times.
Thanks. India Israel has already built a value chain. Your companies, I'm just reading out a couple of names, Radware, Sentin One, Checkpoint, etc., have already their, uh, they are already operating from India, and they also have SOCs, so which are joint security operations. Now, I understand that the FTA, India-Israel FTA, wants to increase and deepen, strengthen, widen the value chain. And one of the area of working is, of course, not one of the a top priority area is cybersecurity. All the firms I named are from cybersecurity area. So, to what extent the I mean, we have an idea that what is there, and to what extent you think that the FTA can widen this partnership?
So the FTA will enable both countries to extend their trade relations without any barriers. And it will allow them to extend the relations not only in the defense or security area, but in other areas as well, such as innovation, as you mentioned, cybersecurity, AI, quantum computing, and other areas that are very essential and important to both countries. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that these issues are not the future, they are the present, and we have to make sure that we collaborate closely with good friends and countries that in the world that will enable Israel to uh, develop these areas. I can tell you that during Prime Minister Modi's visit, both countries upgraded existing security and defense agreements to a sense that both countries that will allow both countries to deal with more sensitive issues. Many commentators suggest and said that the extent of these agreements will go up to $8 to $10 billion. We're talking about a strong commitment between the countries. And we know also that it will enable both countries together with other pragmatic Arab countries in West Asia and other countries in Europe to promote the IMEC initiative, the India Middle East corridor that will enable India, Israel, other Arab, pragmatic Arab countries, and European countries to extend their trade relations when it comes to connectivity through um, land and sea routes. So, of course, the India signed many FTAs with many countries around the world, and we hope that the negotiations with the Jewish states regarding an FTA will be concluded in the near future.
You spoke about the security deal. I don't know yet. Uh, what are in there, but we heard that it would involve the Iron Dome and beam technologies. It's interesting because what we read is that Israel will transfer the technology. To my understanding, so these are, these technologies are very exclusive to Israel, and we are told that you have never transferred it to any other country. I don't know. You can tell me, correct me. So, what I mean, what makes you to work so closely with India out of anywhere else in the world in this particular aspect?
Yes, both countries are facing common challenges when it comes to state and non-state actors in South Asia and West Asia that would like to undermine their national securities. Both India and Israel said down time and again that it would do everything in their power to not only address but also fight terrorism around the world. The fact that both countries are the fact that both countries understand that, and the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the first leader in the world to condemn the October 7 attack that occurred in Israel, that just show how close the relations are and how the mutual trust and understanding is present. And we saw that during many decades now, both countries are collaborating very closely when it comes to security and defense issues. And I can tell you that both countries started these relations not after normalization in 1992, but way before and during the Cold War. Israel, from the very beginning of its existence, understood that India is an important country that we have to collaborate with. And back then, the first Israeli Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, understood that it is very important to normalize the relations as soon as possible. And because both countries are surrounded by hostile entities, whether they are state or non-state actors, and because they are collaborating for many years, including during India's wars against China in 1962, Pakistan in 1965, and 1967, and later, when the relations were normalized during the Kargil War of 1999, so there is already a system in which the countries are collaborating closely. And I think that during the years, they saw that this collaboration brings a lot of advantages for both countries and for the different companies, security and defense companies in the respected countries. So we know also that Prime Minister Narendra Modi for many years is conducting the Make in India initiative, and Israel was one of the countries to not only adhere to this initiative, but also I can tell you that there is already a co-production and co-development of different military and defense equipment that will allow in India, that will allow both countries to seek different ways to counter different threats and challenges that are posed by different entities.
I think we have a co-production in drones.
In drones and in missiles that are taking place as we speak in India. And I am sure that the upgraded security and defense agreements will allow both countries to continue these collaborations and even extend them in a very important way.
Nina, one thing you said that there is a $8 to $10 billion deal Uh, so one, there is one monetary side, but I'm sure Israel is a rich country, and so it may not be merely for this one monetary value. There is a geopolitical side of the story. So what is that side? One, we understand from Indian perspective the importance of Israel, right? Uh, Turkey is a major threat, an emerging threat in the region, in the neighborhood. So that is one side of the story. But from Israel's side, I want to understand how does Israel gain out of this sustained, intense partnership with India. One is whether it is because of India's presence in the Middle East, where we have a couple of good friends. What is it actually?
So first of all, as you rightly mentioned, the West Asia is a combustible region, right? There are many entities that would like to disturb the current world order. And you mentioned Turkey, but I would say that there are two main axes that are operating in West Asia. We're talking about the Shia axis that is very much has been very much weakened since the October 7 attack, and the Sunni axis that is emerging and is comprised by Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan. And the names of these countries and the identity of these countries are very obvious for both our nations. We know that they are undermining time and again the national security of our nations, and we are trying to see how we can collaborate to weaken this kind of new emerging axis that was very much present during the covert war in Israel and during Operation Sindoor. We know that Turkey and Pakistan are sharing close ties when it comes to military and defense issues. And with the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and India's army, India was able to intercept all projectiles that were fired from Pakistan to India during Operation Sindoor. The visionary strategy of Prime Minister Modi allowed India to remain safe and stable despite the threats that both Pakistan and other non-state actors and terrorist organizations that are operating from Pakistan um, to undermine India's national security to just um, conduct this operation in a manner that was not extended in was very precise, was not extended in the sense of the time that it took India to address the threat and respond, of course, to the horrific attack in Pelgam that occurred in 2025. So we see that India and Israel understand that today what is important is not only to maintain bilateral relations, but also multilateral relations. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu um, said that today there is an hexagon of alliances that is emerging in the world, not only in West Asia. And the countries that are part of this hexagon are India, Israel, pragmatic Arab countries, Cyprus, and Greece that are also very threatened by Turkey ambition in the world. So we will see more and more coalitions being formed, whether it is from of revisionist countries or democratic, stable, and civilized countries. And we will see a lot of dynamic between them, a lot of competition. And the fact that India is conducting a multi-aligned approach will allow not only Israel, but all democracies in the world to collaborate closely in India to see how they will able to address these threats together.
That's really interesting. when in a couple of years, probably we will get the real picture of the world after maybe 5, 6 years. We will see what is coming out, and a lot of it will come out. So thanks for all the things, inputs that you shared. And one very interesting thing that's very emotional, and I have heard you kind of, your leader saying it, repeating it time and again about the Haifa port,
Yes.
Haifa city, where in the First World War Indian soldiers were there. Uh,
Yes.
and you said about the Jews who were not founded in India. I think we also have another example, Zoroastrians. So they are today
Exactly.
assets, Mr. Ratan Tata and the Tata Group. So thank you for all the good wishes, and let's hope our partnership deepens and we keep meeting. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Long live Bharat, Israel Dosti.